All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started with this example here. In this case, in this example, it says that Jerry owns a chain of fast food restaurants that operates 200 stores in 1999. If the rate of increase is 8% annually, how many stores does the restaurant operate in 2007? So I do want to go ahead and just highlight some information here. First of all, they're telling us that Jerry here owns or operates, in this case, 200 stores by the year 1999. It also mentions that the store has a rate of increase, or like his business has the rate of increase of 8% annually, right? And then it also mentions that how many stores does he have by 2007? So how many stores does he have operating by 2007? In this case, we actually want to go ahead and create an equation that basically shows us how many stores he has by the time of 2007 using the rate of increase that they have. So first off, I want to go ahead and actually label our X and Y. X in this case is actually going to be representing time for us. And in this case, that's actually the time after 1999. So this is time. Let me take off that parentheses. After 1999. All right. So that's representing, in this case, the years. We want to say years from 1999 to 2007. Y in this case is going to be representing the number of stores operating. Now, in this case, let's go ahead and start off with the basic information. So, because they are telling us to start in 1999, year zero, we actually have 200 stores, which in this case represents our initial value, or our starting point, initial value. So if I were to say, let's say year one, from year one, I have to consider, in this case now, the 200 that we started off with, plus the 200 with the rate of increase, which is the 8%. Now, in this case, because we are talking about percent, I can't really multiply with percentages. So I do have to convert that percent into a decimal. So convert percent to decimal. Now, if you forgot how to do this, guys, this is fine. We could actually just get a little bit of a review here. So if I do have that 8%, I actually want to go ahead and move the decimal place value. Now, with percentages, you actually do have a decimal at the end of that percent. So if you want to change it to a decimal, you have to move it 2 spaces to the left, which in this case creates the 0.08 as a decimal. So let's go ahead and express that, and I'll go ahead and do that on the bottom. That's 200 plus 200 times 0.08. All right. Now, from there, if I want to go ahead and talk about year two, now I have to consider this one and then take that 0.08 and then multiply it in. But in this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and create an equation with this information. And the equation I want to go ahead and create in this case is, once again, we're starting off with Y, because that's how many stores we expect. And I'm actually going to go ahead and start off with the initial value of 200. That's how much we started off with. And I'm actually going to go ahead and multiply that by 1 plus our rate of increase. And in this case, since we want to go ahead and see how many it increases depending on the years, we're actually going to go ahead and express that as an exponent to the x. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is it a 1? And in this case, it is a 1 because we're considering this as a whole. Since I started off with 200, I am going to be basically multiplying that 200, for example, on this first one. I'm add 200 times the rate of increase, and then it just keeps on going from there. So you have to consider in this case that first whole, which is the 1, and then either add it with the rate of increase, or it could also be subtraction if there's a decay. So let me actually rewrite that. And if we rewrite that, we have y equals 200 times 1.08. I could actually add those, and I have to the power of x. Now, from here, I actually want to go ahead and see the years, or actually the difference between 1999 and 2007. So if we actually count the years, that is actually going to have x equal to 8. From 1999 to 2007, that is actually 8 years. So let's go ahead and substitute that into our equation. And we have y equals 200 times 1.08 to the 8th power. Now let's go ahead and input that in the calculator. And let's go ahead and see what we get. Let's see. Let's do that. That's 200 times 1.08 to the 8th power. And that gives us about, that's an approximate of 370.186. Now, if this decimal were to be higher, I could round off to the nearest whole, but in this case, this is about 370 stores that he has operating in 2007.